Quest to Succeed. Chapter 20. The students who could not go on the Indian Railway, supported tour to various places, were excited and wanted to go on a day trip, if not for a longer period. It was decided that all students and staff should go to Khetri, where the world's largest copper mines were being developed. There were other places to visit in the nearby vicinity, but Khetri was the nearest tourist attraction of educational significance. This tour was to take place in the new year, a few months before the examinations. It would be a good change for students. They would feel fresh. The journey was to commence by bus on a fixed day. The school group could leave early in the morning. The main aim of this tour was to get acquainted with the geological conditions of the place and to visit the world-famous copper mines. The students have read a great deal about the beauty of nature, the mountains, lakes, and the mines. When they learnt that they would witness all these things, their hearts leapt with joy. There was a great uproar about it. The journey took place by bus on a Monday at 9:30 a.m. They went in search of the natural phenomenon, not through books but by viewing and seeing with their own eyes. The bus left early in the morning from the school premises and took speed. Outside the city, students and staff saw the beauty of nature. The trees and plants were scattering excellence and grace. The yellow mustard fields looked like streams of melted gold. There were small hills alongside the road, which was an amazing sight to watch. The mounds of sand on one side and hard-stoned hill on the other side looked gorgeous. When the bus reached near the copper mines, the students burst in joy and laughter, expressing their happiness at the change of scenery. There were mud houses and millet plants near the mines, but these were no less attractive than the houses made with bricks and cement. The bus traveled along a hazardous route of hills and valleys. The school bus stopped near the face of the mines, in a large courtyard surrounded by hills on all sides. The workers' quarters and the engineer's office were nearby. The engineer provided a guide, who led the school party into the mines. The guide was holding a lamp to enter the dark and deep mines. The students and teachers felt the heat, which was suffocating because of lack of oxygen. Still the miners were digging and cracking the stones in such dangerous situations. That was the only way raw copper could be brought out of the mines and converted into refined copper in furnaces by melting and separating copper from the dust. Jay thanked the miners for their hard work and the guide for taking his school group into the mines. When they came out of the mine, they all breathed fresh air. The guide suggested to the group that the Khetri mines were the largest copper mines in the world. The work started in 1960 and it continued for many more years. For Jay and his students, it was an experience. Everyone expressed sympathy for the mine workers, including the guide and the engineer who lived in those conditions outside a village. About 9 miles from the town of Khetri, there was the Ajit Sagar Bandh dike. There was a huge hill on one side and dense forest all around. A beautiful Shiva temple was on the Ajit Sagar Bandh, and a rest house for travelers to relax. The garden and the groves were attractive and provided fresh air. The market inside the town was quite good. Students and teachers made their purchases and had their lunch there. The party then visited the fort, which was on a hill. There was no smooth road or path to climb. The students had to be careful in walking on the rough rocks, because there were ditches on both sides of the footpath. The castle was in a dilapidated state, but the beautiful sculpture survived. The paintings on the walls and ceilings showed the Rajasthani art. The castle was looked after by a caretaker who allowed Jay and his group to see the Sheesh Mahal and other apartments. The Mahal was made with glass, marble, and other materials. The artists had done an excellent job. Beautiful pictures were hung of the king holding the court proceedings. The fort was surrounded by a high wall to stop invaders entering the castle. Like many other parts of India, this city had been invaded in the Middle Ages. Safety and security arrangements had been made to stop attacks and invasions. Thereafter, the school group went to see the Amarkund pool, which was their last stop of this trip. The Amarkund was situated at a short distance from the fort. The route was hazardous with a narrow footpath. Sometimes the view was frightening because of the deep valleys on one side and hills on the other side. There was a waterfall. Its water fell into a pond. It had been stated that there was always water in the pond. because of its continuous flow. It was a secluded place, but excellent and graceful with natural phenomenon. After visiting all these places, everyone started to ascend, and they reached the plain ground. There was a saying that it was on the mountains that the sounding cataract haunts like a passion, and the gloomy wood was an unforgettable sight. After refreshment, students and teachers sat down in the bus and returned to Somanpur. It was a good adventure and a learning of great informative value and enrichment.